Heather's
need
like,
it.
I want to see those pretty eyes crying.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Hi guys, welcome to Lovecast the BL podcast. I'm your host Alexa, and with me today are my fellow hosts Kayla and Heather.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. So today we are talking about BL ships that only sailed for a season. Or to put that in simpler terms, we're talking about ships that we liked that really only existed for the duration of their series. They didn't really promote after that. They didn't have any follow-up projects. They don't exist any longer. So yeah, we're just talking about some of our faves that we miss. We're kind of going to talk a little bit about what we liked about their dynamics. For some of mine, I have theories about why they think they no longer promote, which I don't know if you guys have some of those as well. We can talk about those if we have them. But yeah, it's kind of just going to be a little bit more of a listy episode, just us being nostalgic about pairings that we liked and would have liked to see more from. So yeah, I think we both have like three or both. All of us have like three or four. I don't know where both came from. I think we all have like three or four that were like super strong. We have super strong feelings about. So we'll just do our typical list format and kind of round robin and talk about it. So yeah. Does anyone want to say anything before we jump into it? Does anyone feel super strongly about one of their pairings that they want to talk about first?
When it comes
I feel
to
like we
me,
might all
yes.
feel very strongly about
Yeah.
our picks.
About all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Should we start with our very strong pairing
Or save
and then
that
like
for
go down
the
our
finale?
lists?
Do you both have ones that you feel like the strongest about? Because I definitely have
Yes.
ones. Okay.
Yeah, same.
Do we start with those, or
Maybe
do we
they're our
make them the
last ones.
finale?
They can be the finale.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody want to go first? If
I'll
not,
go.
Okay. Heather,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. So my first ship that I miss so much, and I wish that I don't even know if they were technically a ship. They were a couple in the show, but like they never really did like ship work per se. Are Fluke and Thor from the Warp Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Ah.
I am like when I watched them in that, I became so obsessed with them as a pairing. Like they're visually lovely to look at
Mm-hmm.
as a pairing, but I just loved their dynamic and the characters in the series. I loved their dynamic. I loved the tension that they had, the chemistry that they had. And whenever I did see a couple of like behind the scenes things or like them just interacting outside of the show, they seemed like they got on pretty well, which fueled the Delulu a little bit. And just made me want like fueled the want for them to be like a regular ship. And maybe go and do a BL and be like the mains in a BL, but
Mm-hmm.
that never happened. And so they kind of sailed for a season. This is why I was like, maybe I'll mention them first if we're kind of going like semi backwards in our list. They kind of sailed for a season because I don't know if they were technically a ship per se.
Yeah.
If you could call them that, if you're looking at like ship work and stuff, but in my heart they are.
Yeah. I mean, the
And
Warp
I miss
Effect,
them
I
so
guess.
much every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Warp Effect kind of exists like as its own thing because it's more of like queer media as opposed to a BL. So
True.
there wasn't really any ships in that are like established outside of what they were in that show. But
No.
yeah, I really liked Thor and Fluke's dynamic. Floor, that could be their ship name.
That's their ship name.
But it's funny because Thor is also paired with a Fluke right now from Wandy Good Day,
Right.
which
Yeah. I read
So
the other
funny.
one. Yeah. Oh,
which I guess we'll
yeah. I'll
see if
have
they
to.
last for more than a season too.
I was gonna say I'll have to give them a go. I'll have to give the new Fluke and Thor a go. I... but yeah,
No,
they're
it's a
my
good one.
first.
Mm.
Yeah, my first that I miss.
Yeah, I mean, they were one of my favorite, like their characters in the Warp Effect were two of my favorites
Yes.
in the show, so I understand for
And
Yeah,
sure.
like Thor has such pretty eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so
he does.
he acts so well with his eyes. And there was just something about the eye contact that Thor's character and Flick's character would have that just I was like, you guys need to be a main pairing in a BL where there's like angst and there's yearning
Ooh.
and there's like heartbreak and drama. I
Heather's
need
like, I
it.
want to see those pretty eyes crying.
Pretty much.
Oh. Okay.
I can see it. I was like, okay.
Just watch Wandy Good Day. You'll see those pretty eyes. Cry.
Okay, fair
True.
enough.
This is true.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, good one.
That's good.
Well, my first one, because I guess when Heather and I were like when we were first discussing this topic, Thor and Fluke were kind of the couple that influenced that, and then I brought up my couple that I would like to talk about if we did this topic. So I guess I'll start with them, and that is Om and Singto, and He's Coming to Me. Now listen. I am an Om Singto truther. Like, He's Coming to Me was so good. And this is where I say I have theories. And I don't even know if they're theories at this point because I feel like it's just kind of, I wouldn't say accepted, but I think He's Coming to Me was severely underpromoted by GMMTV because they didn't want to upset shippers of Singto's ship with Chris, which at the time, like, it was just coming off of Sodus and Sodus S. So, um, that ship, I know they kind of took a break and they're back now, but this was still when they were kind of like on their downswing, I would say. And so like when He's Coming to Me aired, and this was in 2019, so BLs were definitely being released internationally at that point, but like it was not uploaded onto the GMMTV YouTube account. There was no international release. Like, I remember waiting for someone to fan sub it and upload it to a Google Drive account like a week after the episode would air. Like, that was how you had to watch that show if you were an international fan when it was airing. Of course, it's on YouTube now. And like, I was really excited because I was going back to rewatch scenes of it recently. And I was like, oh, it's so nice and accessible now. But I just thought that they were such a fun dynamic. And I really enjoyed seeing them together. I think He's Coming to Me is one of my favorite roles of both of them. I think it's a really, really great drama. Um, and I think it was really nice for me to see Singto kind of what he would look like working with someone outside of the Chris Singto ship. And obviously, since then, he's worked with a number of different people and other BLs and het projects and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that was my first introduction to Om as an actor. And he like excelled in that role. Like, his scenes in that show are some of like my favorite scenes in like all of Thai BL. So yeah, I just thought that they had a really, really fun dynamic. And honestly, they also didn't do a lot of ship work because I think GMMTV wasn't really promoting them. But I always say it would have been really, really cool to see what their dynamic would have been like if we had seen it more outside of the show. Because I feel like the little interviews that they did do and like the behind the scenes content and some of the small appearances that they did make, I just thought that they had a really cute dynamic with Om kind of being like the younger brother kind of, and then Singto as the P. I just thought that the way that they interacted with each other was a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, I think I just really wanted more for that show. And I know a lot of people appreciate it now, like going back to it in the recent years, but I think at the time, like, I was so on board for them, and I was just like so sad that it wasn't getting any type of um promotion. And because it wasn't accessible to international fans, a lot of the international audience wasn't watching it. So I would love like if they could do another project, or if like we could redo He's Coming to Me in 2024. I think it would be really interesting to see what the Om and Singto dynamic would look like.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, That's a really sad instance, and it, like,
Mm-hmm.
comes back to something that is going to come up a lot, at least in mine, where it's like, there's so much wasted potential. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you never get to see these couples at their full potential and see what they really could have accomplished,
Yeah.
at least
Mm.
together, but, yeah, it's really sad. I agree that Ohm and Singto were, like they were so good together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Uh,
always, you wonder what could have been.
I really
I mean,
do.
listen, they're both doing great now. Obviously, Chris and Singto are acting together again, and Ohm has Kidnap coming up with Lang, which it'll be interesting to see
Oh,
because I
yeah.
feel like that ship is now in a similar dynamic that the Ohm and Singto ship was at the time of He's
Mm.
Coming to Me.
Mm.
So GMMTV seems to be, I mean, obviously the international presence of BL and the presence of BL in general is a lot different now, but GMMTV seems to be taking a stronger stance against like this is this pairing's current ship and you just kind of have to suck it up and deal with it. Obviously, the Om Nanan shippers have become pretty infamous like in the last year, I would say. So it'll be interesting to see how the promotion of Kidnap goes, which I think is starting in like a week or two at this point. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, it's interesting that the Om and Lang are kind of in the same boat that Om and Singto were when He's Coming to Me aired back in 2019. So hopefully it'll have a different outcome this time around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be really interesting. This isn't the episode for it to kind of dive into that,
Okay.
but it's going to be very
Yeah.
interesting the reaction when that series starts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm scared, but let me stay a little hopeful. Um,
Yeah.
so my first one is I feel like it's very I don't know if the word is like underground, but for me, they were a hidden gem of a couple. Boy Todd.
Oh, they're on my list
Yeah.
too.
Really? Oh my god, Alexa. I should have known. This always happens.
As soon as you said hidden gem of a couple, I was like, I know exactly who they're gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my
This
god,
is
I
to be
so agree.
expected, but
I
no,
so agree.
I'm glad that we're in agreement because
Mm-hmm.
like this is they were a couple that I feel like had crazy chemistry and
Mm-hmm.
not enough people know about how good their chemistry was because Ghost Host Ghost House went so under the radar. But like after that
Mm-hmm.
show, I was really excited to see them in some type of future project together. But at this point, I think I've like completely lost hope that that's gonna happen. And that they're really gonna work together as a pairing anymore. Like I believe they interact every now and then, but they're not being
Mm-hmm.
promoted in a way that a BL
Mm.
pairing would, and they don't have a show to promote together. I'm actually not sure what they're up to. I don't know. Do you know?
I know that Todd or I'm sorry, Boy very recently did like a BL special that I think just aired in like
Mm.
two parts on YouTube, but I don't know the actor who he was with in that, and I haven't watched it at all. But yeah, I mean, I think Todd is more just doing like the general influencer type thing right now. I don't think
Mm.
he's
Mm.
done any acting projects since then. But yeah, it seemed like when Ghost House was airing, like it seemed like they were ready to go like full throttle. Like even
Yeah.
after the
Mm.
show and like for a little bit after the show ended, like they were still doing a lot of ship work, making a lot of appearances. And then it feels like one day it just kind of stopped and we just like didn't really see them interacting anymore. I remember I think like Todd had a birthday fan meet like a couple months after the show ended and Boy was there. But like after that it's like yeah, they just kind of like
Mm.
fell off and it's kind of sad. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe there was plans for them that for another project that fell through or like, you know, who knows how often that happens behind the scenes, probably way more than we realize, but it
Yeah.
does seem like they were going like full in, like their chemistry was no joke, like and then all of a
Mm.
sudden it was just like, oh, they're gone.
Yeah. It's like
Sad.
their contract
Yeah.
ended and it was like, oh, okay, we're not going to help them promote any further. We don't have
Yeah.
any work for them. See you later, type of thing.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's really what
Yeah.
it felt like. And like I mentioned, like it was really hard for me to even like follow updates about them because they're not very mainstream and the show
Mm-hmm.
wasn't super popular. So it's sad because they could have really gone full throttle with the promotion, but it just never happened for one reason or another. And I
Yeah.
miss them. And I still watch scenes of them from Ghost Host Ghost House.
Some of
And
those scenes were.
I'm gonna have to start a petition to bring them back because come on,
Hey,
like
I'll sign it.
where are they?
I'll
Wasted
sign it.
potential.
It's really like one of those instances where you realize how much the production can impact like what actors in a pairing can do, because I feel like
True.
obviously like I'm so glad we get like these smaller like productions because there really are a lot of hidden gems within them, like
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Host Ghost House. But then like you realize that like the resources that they have are so limited and they can only do so much, and you think like, you know, if Boy and Todd had had a production under a bigger company or a company who had been able to secure different resources, like who knows, like they could have been going on with more projects and stuff like that. But yeah, they were one that had
Mm,
a lot of potential, and I was
Yeah.
really looking forward to seeing like if they were going to do more, what kind of projects they would be in, but
yes,
alas.
Yeah. And like,
exactly.
especially I honestly thought they would go straight into something else
Mhm.
as well. And so like not not seeing them do things, not seeing them really interact anymore actually hurts a little bit. Like that
Mhm.
sounds a little delulu, but like
It
it
is.
No,
Yeah.
I
hurts a
feel
little
it.
bit
You lean into it,
because
yeah.
yeah, because they were nah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Yeah. It would be
I
nice
hope
to at least like, it's sad when they like don't even hang out after anymore after doing the ship
yeah.
work. And
Exactly.
that's like
Ugh.
when you get into the parasocial side of things and you're like, who even knows how good of friends they were
Yeah.
offset, to be honest. But like you
Yeah.
can't help but be a little bit sad about it.
Yeah. And like to be
Mhm.
fair, they could still be hanging out
This is
probably.
true.
They just
This
don't
is
put it
true.
all
Yeah.
over their socials.
This is very true.
But
Mhm.
like feed us. Feed
Let me see a
us.
little bit.
The crumbs.
Give us more of you and then we'll I don't know, tweet about it and hopefully get the attention of some producer
Some
who'll put you in a show.
producers. We have the influence.
Well, I meant collective we as fans. But yeah.
Collectively. Listen, when we get our Lovecast production house and start selling off our BL
I'll
ideas,
put
then
Mm,
Boy and
maybe
Todd
we
into a
can.
series and
Yeah.
yep.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So I'm trying to decide. I know I said I had like 3 to 4 strong, but now looking at this and thinking about the two that you guys said, I might have to move one of mine to an honorable mention,
Oh.
even though I've like spoken about them a lot and said numerous
Oh.
times I
Mm.
miss them so much. So
Interesting.
I'll put them in my honorable mention, and I'm going to move up Pod and Gawin from Dark Blue
Mm.
Kiss, which I know is most likely on Alexa's
There
list
are
right
my
now.
honorable mentions. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I've moved them from honorable mention into
And
my
that is so
list
fair.
because like I oh my god, I no offense to Tay and New. No offense to Tay and New.
Hmm.
But Pod and Gawin were the couple that kept me going through Dark Blue Kiss. They were the
100%
ones
same.
that I would turn up every
Mhm.
week, hoping that I got more than a minute screen time, hoping that I got more of their story, more of their development. They were the ones who I was like trying to get all of the behind the scenes content. They were the ones that I was like not stalking on social, but like they were the ones that I was following on social very
Hmm.
strongly. I was liking their posts, seeing what they were up to. Um, and then like they were the ones that I was literally thinking, oh my God, what would be next for them? What are they going to do next? They're the new ship coming out of this series. Because, like, around the time that Dark Blue Kiss came out, it was pretty common for like your second couple to basically be how they were announcing the next
Hmm.
round of ships.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, holy crap, what is this? This is a new type of ship. They're quite visually similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like this really, oh, they're not this like really short little, like, I don't know I'm trying to
They don't
explain
have
it in
like
a
the
way that's
size
like,
difference
yes,
dynamic
there's
that you
no
see is very common. Mm-hmm.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at. And yes, so they were a very visually similar couple, which we didn't really have as a regular ship in GMMTV at that point
Mm-hmm.
in time. And so that was kind of exciting. And then they were just the, Dark Blue Kiss gave us like morsels of them. Morsels. It was crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Like actual literal crumbs. When we say that we're there for the crumbs, in Dark Blue Kiss, we were there for the crumbs. Like, they gave us the smallest amount of their story, the smallest amount of them, sorry, and it just kind of like it made you hungry for more. And then they didn't give us anything. They didn't put them in anything. They
Mm-hmm.
just kind of was like, yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Like
True
it.
GMMTV fashion.
But like it was
Yeah,
like one
funny
of
how
the
many of these are
first, yeah,
GMMTV ships so far.
yeah. Um, and like, yeah, I know that I'm not the only one who feels so strongly about this couple, and that they just when Kayla was saying that they think that Boy Todd is wasted potential, I really think that Pod Gawin, especially at that time, was very
Mm-hmm.
wasted potential. Very wasted. Yeah.
I
And like,
100% agree.
yeah.
Yeah, same.
And like it could have been that like the actors didn't want to do lots of stuff at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to do the ship work or anything like that. That's fine. But I still semi blame Jim MTV for not putting them in another series together.
Yeah, it seems like both Pod and Gawin have both been actors who have kind of ended up in that pool of people where GMMTV is like, we're
Yeah.
just gonna throw people at a wall and see what sticks. Because like we've talked
Yep.
about how they've like all like the square of like Cow
Mm-hmm.
Tongue and First and Gawin and Pod, and like they've both been paired up. I mean, Gawin is obviously gonna be with Joss in the vampire show, which
Yeah.
My Golden Blood, yes? Is that what it's
Yep.
called?
My
Yeah.
Golden
Okay,
Blood.
Yeah.
thank you. I wanted to say Be My Favorite, and I was like, no, that was his last project.
Yeah.
um, um, and yeah, and like Pod, I don't think has really been in as much BL lately, since
Not
Tan
lately.
Han Chan Lati. But I mean, he was just in Wandi as the worst character on the planet, worst person on the planet. But you know, like he's kind of been more in like I guess the support roles lately. He would rather be fishing, it seems. So yeah, it seems like they both kind of ended up in that pool of GMMTV where we're like, we're just gonna experiment and see if anything kind of works. And like you said, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like the actors would rather not be tied down to a specific pairing, or if GMMTV is just saying like, "No, we're gonna try something different for your next one." But yeah, I 100% agree. Like them as Sun and Mork was, I still think about them to this day. And every time I post about them, like on the Lovecast account or whatever, like everyone else has the same sentiment. Like
Yeah.
we
Mm-hmm.
deserved more of them, so much
Yes.
more. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. If they like with Gawin now doing quite a bit of work, if they come back and if they are a pairing again in like the next couple of years,
Oh
I
my
think we're all
God.
going to collectively lose our shit.
That would be
100%.
crazy. Mm-hmm.
I would be so here for it.
Yeah, same.
Okay, my turn again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so this one is kind of, I also have been like shifting things around on my list since Kayla ended up saying Boy Todd. I don't want to talk about them again. So I had to pull these two up from my honorable mentions. So this is kind of my nepotism pick. Um but I said Pan and No. And
Ah.
here's the thing, because like it's funny because like I am 1000% on the like I want to see Pan and Fluke in a BL. Like I'm
Yeah.
still like I'm the captain of that ship, honestly. Like I post about it every chance I can get. But every
Yes.
time I think about that interview we had with Pan and No during Oh My Sunshine Night and just their dynamic, just like watching them interact and the 3 hours that we spent talking with them during that time and um just seeing the way that they like I just love like that energy dynamic of like No being like so totally
Unhinged.
unhinged and then
Yes.
Pan like being like the grounding one. And I feel like it's so funny because it's not the way that we see Pan now, I would say, or like in his
Yeah.
other interactions. So seeing him in like a dynamic where he was more like the one, like, okay, let's bring this back a little bit. Like, it's still like one of my favorite interviews that we've ever done. And when I think about that and like how fun it was to just like talk to the two of them together, I'm just like, I would love to see them in another project and kind of see that dynamic continue and
Mm.
see them in a show where they kind of get more chance to shine and explore um different characters because Oh My Sunshine Night, as much as I love Ohm and Fluke, like by the time we got to the halfway point of that series, like I was tuning in for Pio and Rain and their storyline and I really enjoyed watching the chemistry between their characters and the way that Pan and No were playing them. Um, but I mean, that show was something else. So this is largely just because of the dynamic that we've seen from Pan and No and talking to them for the short period of time that we did and while Oh My Sunshine Night was promoting. So just for purely like chaos reasons, I think it would be so fun to see them. I know they're still friends. Like I know they still talk and I see them commenting on each other's social media and stuff like that. But I think it would be so fun to continue seeing some more of their shipwork dynamic. But
Mm.
I want to see Pan Fluke happen slightly more. So, you know.
Maybe it's the love triangle. Maybe they're a love triangle.
This
Oh.
is the
Pan,
thruple
Fluke,
series that
No.
we need.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And No can just like go off and have his New York subway rat. That's his end. Pan and Fluke get together and No gets his
He
rat.
flies to New York for this for the rats.
Yes.
Oh my, listen.
God.
That somehow would still not be a crazier storyline than Oh My Sunshine Night. So let's go for
Really?
it.
I didn't end
Yeah.
up like,
Oh My Sunshine Night, Noah's character literally faked dying in a helicopter crash, so that story was unhinged.
okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild time, but they were just so fun to watch together and to chat
Yeah.
with, and so for that reason alone, I was like, they were on my honorable mentions, and then I decided that I wanted to shout them out, so move them up.
Yeah. Do you think they'd like if they were in another series together, you'd want them to be in a bit of a like a rom-com instead of a drama sort of? I feel like even though you were saying like Oh My Sunshine Night was a bit unhinged, I feel like it was dramatic.
It was
meant to be dramatic.
their storyline. It definitely was meant to be dramatic. Like I don't think it was supposed to be like a comedy in any way, shape, or form. But some of the stuff that happened was just so
Definitely not.
out there. But honestly, like I kind of want to see them lean into the angst because their storyline kind of had that not forbidden love, but like it was like, oh, I shouldn't be with you because like we have such a like a societal economic status difference and like my dad is like your family's butler basically was like their dynamic,
Okay.
but we're in love. And I think they did the emotional aspect of it really well. So I think it would be fun to see them lean into something angsty and then like juxtapose that with their like kind of chaotic dynamic in real life. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm imagining them in a show like Laws of Attraction.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Listen, Pan
imagine
does a
that?
lot of like the
Who's
Lacorns,
the
so he could kind of go for that kind of
Exactly.
production style, I feel like.
Who do you think would be the lawyer? And who like the unhinged, slightly unhinged lawyer?
Probably no.
No, yeah, because they probably
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
I
funny.
see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were good. That's a good pick. Nepotism and all.
Yeah.
Now I'm afraid that we're both gonna have this one, Alexa.
Oh no.
My next one is Cow Up.
Is that your biggest?
Yes.
Should we save it? Should we save it?
I can talk about another
Oh
one.
my god. I don't know why I didn't like expect. I should have expected that you would have them on your list.
I was obsessed with them at the time.
Yeah, we
Because
both
Yeah.
were. Now
lovely
that I think
writer.
about it.
Yeah. I mean, with them, I feel like it was a moment in time and you just had to be there. Um and lovely writer made me want more of them, and
Hmm.
they did, I think, promote a little bit together, but
Hmm.
then things kind of fell off when Kao signed with Channel 3, because that's basically the death of everyone's BL career. Is
Hmm.
when they joined Channel 3.
Unless they're
But
in a
yeah.
Channel 3 BL specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to
Yeah. No, I was
that.
like, oh my god, I was. I mean, like, I think Cow Up is like some of the first like time I've
You're
actually
literally
made
in
the
your background
effort
right now.
to buy. Yeah, like this is. I still have like Cow Up. This is Cow Up. I have the little dragon from Lovely Writer. I think they were the first like BL pairing that made me like go out of my way to like buy merch and like pay for online fan meets. I did their online like fan meet that they did. I still have like an album on my phone that's like a Cow Up album. Like I was in the trenches for them. And I did have like a lot of hope that we would see them in another project together. And like they were doing all of the things to make you think like that they would. Like they had announced a fandom name. They had like
Mm-hmm.
official fan clubs going. They were doing fan meets and stuff. But then yeah, I think Cow signed to Channel 3, which obviously is a huge opportunity because that's like one of the biggest like mainstream TV networks in Thailand. And then um that like Kayla said, like that's pretty much like if you have a ship outside of Channel 3 at that point, like that ship, whether it's BL or not, I think it's just like you're focused on Channel 3, you're
Gone.
getting paired with Channel 3 actors or actresses, like that's what you're doing now. So yeah, after that happened, it just kind of was like, well, I guess we'll. There were still people I think that had hope for a while that like there would be some kind of exception that would happen. Because even for a while after he first joined Channel 3, they still, and maybe it was just like contractual stuff that they had to finish out. Like they were still doing some extent of promotion
Mm.
together. But then like yeah, by like 2022, mid 2022, I think it had kind of really just died out. And then every once in a while, like I think last year they were at a couple of events together where they posted like photos and hung out. But yeah, after that, obviously now Up and Poom are promoting as a pairing, which I absolutely love them as well. So, but yeah, I was deep in the Cow Up trenches. Like they were two of my faves for a while. So
Mm.
I definitely would have loved to
Mhm.
see more of them together. And they were the first ones that like I really hoped and had thought that we would see them, like a ship that I really thought we would see them do more together because they had a pretty good reach, but it just was a moment in time,
Mhm.
like Kayla said. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was one of
I
those very hopeful people that were like, okay, maybe they could still do something together,
maybe
but
they can make an exception just as once.
inevitably, nope.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
And I feel like it was definitely, like you're saying, definitely a moment in time. And I feel like that feeling is so strong because of the fact that they were so good and they were like everything was going right for their ship and then
Mm-hmm.
it just ended.
Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think because of
Yep.
that just ending, it's kind of made that like little moment in time even more special and it
Mm-hmm.
makes you just want them back so much more. But yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
sadly, no.
100%.
We got
Yeah,
what? We got
it's
a
kind of
season, we got
like,
a special app,
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
and
Special app,
special up.
we got
fan
a fan meet.
meets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good run. It was pretty
Yeah.
short,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
did do a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
They
feel like
were
that's kind of what sets them apart
everywhere.
from, I think, a lot of the other ships that we've talked about so far is that,
Yeah.
like, they were very much being promoted, and it seemed like people were putting a lot into them as a pairing, but then circumstances changed and things just couldn't work out that way anymore. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting because I think that I'm not as tuned into the Up and Poom fandom, but I know that Poom is also an actor under Channel 7, I think. And there have been like some
Mm.
fan rumors going around that because he chose to act in a BL, like his this is all speculation, but because he chose to act in a BL, like people have been speculating that like his company that he signed over or signed under like isn't giving him any more like Lacorn work until the end of the year, and that like he was kind of given the ultimatum to be like, do this BL outside
Mm.
of our company or keep doing our company projects, and he chose to do my stand-in, which once again, this is just fan speculation that I've seen like on Tumblr and Twitter, but I mean, if that is what happened and that was the choice he made, like my stand-in is did amazing and the ship is doing really well
Good
right now,
choice.
and I hope it doesn't fall into the same pattern again that we saw
God.
with Kao and Up, because Up and Poom also seem to really enjoy working with each other, but
Mm.
yeah, it's another one of those like patterns repeating situations. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also would love to see Cow and Up just act together again because I feel like they've both improved so much
yes,
since Lovely
100%.
Yes.
Writer. Like they're
Yeah.
even better now, not to say they were not good before, but it's just like one of those things where they've progressed so much and I would just like to see it. I would like to see
I
it.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That sigh, I feel like, is literally all of us after all of these like
All this reminiscing.
ships that have sunk. Yeah.
We're just gonna go and
Oh,
cry after this.
oh goodness. I might do some of my honorable mentions instead of going straight into my big like
Yeah.
everythings. The pairing that I moved down to make room for Pod Gawin was June 9 or Joong 9
Oh.
from Two Moons 2. We have,
Yeah.
yeah, we've spoken about these guys before, and I've definitely gone on huge rants about how much I love them. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I I know Jung is happy as Jung Dunk. I know Nine is happy being an idol. I know. I just they were so like how Alexa was saying that Cow Up were like the ship that you were like following. You were getting
Mm-hmm.
all of their merch. You were like just all in everything. June 9 for me was one of the first, was within the time of the first like ships that I was following what they were doing. I was following them all through social media. I was following all of the behind the scenes. I was thinking, what's next for them? I was planning what was next for them in my
Mm-hmm.
brain. I was like, I wasn't purchasing merch or anything at that point in time, but if I was, I would have been purchasing everything I possibly could that was Jung Nine. I was so obsessed. I followed Nine and his career all the way through to Chung 2020 or
Mm-hmm.
2021, whatever the show. Can't remember if it was 2020, 2021. I was following Jung all the way through into his GMM TV, like signing, and then into the Jung Dunk ship. And like, but like, I love what they're doing now, but I miss them so much as a ship together. And like, they were, even though there were like 100 million versions of Two Moons, um, I feel like they were the best Ming kit. And they were
I would
I
the
agree
best,
with
agree.
that. Yeah.
yeah. And they were the best, just like together. And like it seemed whenever you'd see the behind the scenes stuff, they had very much black cat and puppy golden
Mm-hmm.
retriever energy outside of the show as well. So like the show itself was very black cat golden retriever like energy, and then outside they literally kind of embodied that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really loved
Mm-hmm.
that was part of their, I guess, kind of like ship work. As much ship work as they possibly could do under the contracts of Murder Village. But anyway, um, and yeah, and I loved that they're both like musically inclined, so that was really cool to see. Them working together in the boy band group thing that they were for a bit was was interesting.
uh,
And like, I don't know. I know that they've I don't know if they're technically wasted potential because they're doing so well in what they're doing now.
mm,
But I feel like if they had if
Mhm.
they were under better management, though, with a better production company doing their first their debut series together, I feel like they would have gone really far as a ship.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like they just it other than Motive Village being the worst, we know this.
Yeah.
It kind of their split up felt slightly more natural to me than some of the other
Yeah.
ones
Mm,
because it was like they were both going off to pursue their own things. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's still
Yeah.
it's
No.
sad and it's another one of those moment in time things where you just
mm-hmm.
had to live through it to fully
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
You really
Definitely.
just
And I
had to
think
be
that
there.
that's yeah, and that's why I kind of another reason why I kind of moved them into an honorable mention was because it did feel natural that that they went in different directions. It didn't feel like there were 100% outside forces kind of keeping them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of made their own decisions for their careers. But yeah, still hurts a little bit. Still sad.
Yeah.
Um, should I go down more honorable mentions or
I don't know. How do you want to
keep
do it?
round robbering? Round robbering?
Round
What's
robbering.
the word? Robbering? Robbining? All right, I'll just quickly mention Gawin first, not me.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. That's a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, and my other quick little honorable mention, which we don't need to expand on, is Omnanon, Bad Buddy. Cool. Yep.
The Chinese fans will agree.
Oh, I just think, yeah, they just, oh my God, if everything that happened didn't happen and that the fans didn't get as intense as they got, I think that they would have had a very successful career as an established ship.
Yeah.
Mm.
I just feel like with them, it's such a shame because they genuinely
Yeah.
seemed like they were such good friends.
Yeah.
And everything that happened, I mean, I know that they said they're like amicable now. Obviously, I will choose to believe that because that's what they're saying. But
Mm-hmm.
it seems like everything that went down, like, really did hurt a friendship, like, that what was seemed like a very
Yeah.
genuine friendship very deeply. And I think that's the thing that is saddest about them because I remember like when Bad Buddy was airing, like I was pretty into them as well. I know we said we weren't going to expand on this, but
We're spending now.
it's just too late now. But like I was following like a lot of the interviews and stuff, and just like the way they talked about each other, like I remember saying so
Mm,
much that like it seemed like such a genuine friendship. And I think for me that's like the biggest sad part about that is that it seems like everything that happened just kind
yeah.
of ruined that aspect of their relationship. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sad.
That's a messy one.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even between
That would need
them,
like a
just
whole
messy.
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much to think about.
But yeah. So those are my Thai honorable mentions.
hmm
If we're just gonna keep it kind of in the Thai space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair, fair, fair. Oh, next is me. Okay. Um, yeah, so Cow Up was like my big one, which I kind of have already talked about why they were my big one. So let me see. Who are my honorable mentions that I had? Okay, I had Mark and Ford,
Me
which
I
too.
nearly put them on the
yeah,
Me
list.
yeah,
too.
yeah. Yeah, so they were one of my honorable mentions, and I really liked them at the time. I think, they were promoted as a ship in the scope of My School President. I don't know if GMMTV ever really had intentions of doing much with them outside of that. It seems like once the My School President era ended, they kind of started doing separate things. Ford sadly isn't really doing much, which makes me really sad. But not Mark went directly into like OnlyFriends, and now
Mm.
he has the dentist show, which title I can never remember, with Om. That's why I was saying Om, with Om coming up. So Mark has been doing, one of those people who is just everywhere all the time. But yeah, I really like them during My School President era, so I put them on my honorable mentions. Um, and then I had, okay, this one, don't think I even ever watched or fully watched their show, but Chapin Green, I followed them on social
Yeah.
media, so
Oh,
like they were one of those pairings that like really had you questioning the Delulu. Like they really had you in the Delulu, because like I remember
Yeah.
when the tuxedo was airing, I mean they were like having sleepovers and like posting these photos of each other all the time, and they seemed to be really into the heavy ship work. And then like it
Mm.
was one of those ones where one day it just like stopped, and they just like did not
mm,
interact at all, like ever again. And I don't know what happened there. I wasn't like enough into the show or the fandom to really try and keep up with what might have gone down. But I remember like when the show was airing, people were really really into them, and like they really made people pretty delulu with some of their interactions. So I was following
Mm-hmm.
them like through their socials and stuff, and I really um we did also interview them to talk about the tuxedo, which is why like I've seen a couple episodes of the show, but I didn't actually finish it. Um, but yeah, I thought they had a really fun dynamic. Um, and then my last one, which I feel like might be on one or both of your guys' list, maybe more Heather's than Kayla's, but Saint and Z. Yeah.
oh yeah, I don't have them.
So I feel like they're on Heather. I was like, I feel like they're on Heather's list, knowing how we've talked about Why Are You a lot lately, and I feel like you've had a lot of feelings. So I'll let you, when the time comes,
Okay.
talk about them more. But yeah,
We'll
those are
dive
my honorable
deeper.
mentions.
Hmm. I also had Mark and Ford as an honorable mention.
Hmm.
I've already talked about them a lot. I also had Hang and Surprise, which I've
Oh
also talked about them a lot.
yeah. What happened to
Oh my
them?
God,
I really thought they were gonna
yes.
get their own series. Like I thought after
Me too.
what is that show called? Why am I blanking on their show with
Secret
Secret
Crush on
Crush
thank
You?
on
you.
Secret
you.
Crush on
Thank you.
You.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really thought that they were gonna be like Idol Factory's next BL pairing that they like really went in on.
Yeah, I have no
Same.
idea what happened there. Like, I don't know if they just didn't want to pursue it, like they
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to continue promoting as a couple, or if like the company had a heavy hand in it. Like, I have
Mm-hmm.
no clue. And the fact that I don't even have like a speculation about it bothers me because I'm like, it's just the
Yes.
mystery of why did this stop all of a sudden one
Mm-hmm.
day? Or I guess pretty much as soon as the show ended, because I don't remember them doing much of anything else after that. But they were so
No.
good in the show.
Yeah.
They had such great chemistry. I don't know, but I would love to see them together. I don't know.
Same.
Um, I threw this in just because I something reminded me of them, but Pavel and Benz, they were
Oh,
so
they
Oh.
were so
short-lived.
cute together.
Yeah.
Probably
Wow.
the shortest lived.
Oh my God.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
They
wild.
literally
Yeah,
only sailed for the season. Like they
Yeah.
are the
literally.
epitome of a ship that only sailed for a season.
Yeah. They were
Like the
really
end of that
cute.
season, they were done.
Yeah, it was over after that. But I'll be honest, like I never even finished the show. So
I didn't either. So,
that's why they're an honorable mention.
Yeah.
And then the last honorable mention I had was Perth and Saint, which I think you had. So I'll
mm.
let you talk about it. I have them in my honorable mentions
Heather has
because,
all of the same ships.
like Perth and Saint,
Oh
there's
my
so much like
god.
trauma associated with that point in time
Yeah, that's
that
why I
that's why I
didn't put
didn't
them on
put
my
them
list.
as a
Because I kept coming back to Love by Chance because I really did
Yeah.
enjoy them during that show, but I was like, oh, so much went down that I was just like,
Oh my
it hurt
god.
too
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like I
And
feel
like I
like
also so much am in support of like what they're both doing now. That
Mm-hmm.
like as much as
mm-hmm.
I miss it and like anytime they interact, I'm like a vulture, like clutching
Same.
on
I'm
to
like circling, waiting for more. Like
literally. As much as I feel that way anytime they do interact, it's like I love what Saint is doing with producing.
yes.
I wouldn't rather have it, I think, any other way with that. And then Perth
Mm-hmm.
is still acting, and he is such a great actor. So I'm glad that he's getting more opportunities under GMMTV. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things where I really do miss them. And they were like the first, I guess, ship that I really, really got invested in. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I think I'm at a point where I'm okay leaving them in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I so my two, well my one two, I made it two. My top is Perth
Oh,
Saint
this is why you
and
said
then
you could
Saint
put them
Z.
as okay,
Yeah.
make
hmm
them
They're
into
like
one
my
thing. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're like my kind of one thing because I'm the same as you, Caleb. Like so, Perth Saint were the very first ship that I ever was 100% all in on. I
Mm-hmm.
was, yeah. So like previous to that, I'd been watching BL on and off. I was like, oh yeah, this is a cool story. Like they're great actors, da da da. And then Love by Chance happened, and Perth Saint happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I need to consume every piece of
Yep,
content
yep.
these two make. I need to be watching all of the behind the scenes. I need to know all of their interactions. What are they doing on social media? What are they doing like off social media? Like what are they doing? What is going on? Like what are they
hmm
thinking? I was like it was yeah, it was
hmm
like a lot. Um
Yep, yep. I'm
yep.
there too.
Um, and then when everything went down and they just weren't a thing anymore, I was actually upset. I
Mm-hmm.
was
Me
actually
too.
like, oh my God. Like, I felt so bad for the both of them, and I felt so upset about the ship not being a thing anymore. And then I was like upset about the fact that I was so upset about it. Like, I was like,
Mm.
it was a whole thing. And I was like, oh my god, they're never like with everything that went down as well. I was like, oh my god, this is going to like ruin their careers. So I was upset. I was really
Mm.
upset about that as well. Like, oh my god, what's going to happen for these two like super talented actors? And like Perth was young at the time. He was like
Mm-hmm.
17, 18. He was 17 during filming, 18 once the show was out. So but
hmm
still very, very young. And
Yeah.
Saint wasn't that much older.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was, I can't remember exactly what the age difference is, but he wasn't like
It's like
that
21 or
much
22,
older.
I think, something like that.
Yeah. And this was his first, it was both of their first BL productions. I'm pretty sure it was their first production as a whole, I believe.
I
I can't remember
believe
if Saint
so.
was in anything before. I know it was Perth. I'm pretty sure, I don't, I know it was their first BL production, and it was their first time, ow, 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 just ran over my toe. Um, it was I got so excited I wheeled around. Um yeah, it was the first BL production. It was their first time being like a main pairing, a main couple in a series. They were both so young. The show took off. Their pairing took off. They got a lot of attention very quickly. Um and then yeah, everything went down and they were kind of silent for quite a while. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit. Like this is this is the end of their careers. They're never going to, like, they're like one and done. Oh my god. And then we got the announcement that Saint was in YIU with Z, and I was like, oh, Saint, you're coming back. You're coming back. It's a comeback. Like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And then YIU happened and COVID happened. And fucking Saint Z didn't go further than the series, and I was like, Saint, what's going on? And because of my love of Saint from Perth Saint, I was all in on Saint Z, and then Saint Z was just amazing. Like, Z's amazing, Saint's amazing. The show is amazing, both in a bad way and a good way. It's just such a good. And then I was so in on them there, and then shit went down. Kind of not like Love by Chance, but like shit went down, and Saint Z weren't a thing anymore. And I was like, what is going on? Is Saint never going to get the chances that he deserves? Because he's such a talented man, so talented. And then I was like upset all over again. And then I was like, and I don't even know what Perth is doing at that point. I don't even know what he, like, I'm pretty sure he was just, I don't know, finishing school or something. Like, he wasn't acting in anything, I think, when YIU was around. Like, he just kind of dropped off the radar a bit. And I was like, oh my god, like, Perth is like nowhere to be seen. Saint is in this other ship that's going down again. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then I was like, all right, well, I guess that I can't love anyone anymore. No shit, because everything I love burns to the ground.
Aww. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yes. And then I was like, well, fuck that then. I'm not going to invest in anyone, any ship ever again. And then they that was really highly dramatic, because they then went on to be like an amazing producer, and literally Idol Factory is Saints. And then Perth ends up in GMMTV and is doing amazing things, and he's so bloody talented. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Everything worked out in the end. But at that time, I was like, the world is unfair and I'm never going to love again. Like, it was...
It was that
I
serious.
get that.
Yeah.
It sounds dramatic, and yes, it is, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, we've all been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Saint, well, both Perth and Saint, but I feel like especially Saint was like so unlucky during that period of time. So unlucky with things just like never working out, which is why I'm kind of glad that he's out of that world, but adjacent to it still, and that he like
has a lot more
tries
control
to make a difference in like making it better. And I feel like this also just shows that like management again plays such a huge part in if these ships end up taking off or dissolving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whew.
Sad.
All right. Who's
Kayla.
your 100% number one, Kayla?
Oh, you know. You have to already know. Annette James.
Yes.
Oh.
Listen.
I know. It's literally that. Just like, oh my god.
Annette James. That's it.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not it, because I am really upset
Yeah.
about their divorce. I'm telling you, I need Annette James back like I need air in my lungs.
Yeah.
I miss them so much, and I'm having a hard time letting them go.
As I say, this was hard because it just happened. Like, it's very recent.
I'm feeling very much, Heather, the same way you do about Perth Saint with them. Like, I'm genuinely upset about it. And like, when they won that award for best series at Kaz Awards, that was like my Super Bowl, genuinely. That was the last time they interacted, well, publicly at least, because like since then they'll like post photos in the same place, so you know they're like together with their friends, but they're not posting each other, you know. But I'm just convinced that like no one will ever be able to top Net and James's chemistry. They just like I've never seen a more compelling, like lustful gaze exchange between two people. Like I'll never get over how like well they did intimacy,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
they were just like two of those people where you started to believe the fantasy, at least like in the show. You started to really believe the fantasy that they were like together and like really wanted each other. So there's all that, but as you know, this year James took a step back from acting to pursue arts, and inevitably that was their divorce.
Oh.
And there is actually a lot of lore leading up to this, which is what makes me upset. Um, I don't think I've ever actually talked about any of this lore publicly, but I know things, okay?
Oh.
So there were a couple things that happened leading up to this. Um, so you know their show that they were supposed to be in, the Love Upon a Time? Is
Mm-hmm.
that I
It's by
always
like,
get the
Mhm.
title
yeah.
incorrect. Um, that ended up being delayed, still delayed. Um, Probably because they're behind on their filming schedule. Maybe not. I don't know. But that kind of left them with no work
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, other than they had a couple fan meets. They would go to some events together, but other than that, like they weren't doing any acting work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I have I have kind of theories about, but I'll get into that in a second. Basically, all of that. And then there was an instance at the what's it called? The press conference for Middleman's Love. This was before the show started, where friend of the show, Peachy Win, love him the most, but he said something that really upset me and a lot of fans at this
Mm.
press conference. He told Net and James that they didn't work as hard on Bedfriend as Tudor and Yim worked on Middleman's Love,
Oh.
and that they like should have put more of their all into it. And he said this to them during the press conference.
Wow, that's a choice to make.
So that happened. Obviously Net James fans were pretty upset about that because
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
how do you just say that to someone's face? Like, come on.
Especially in at a
Publicly.
public press conference. That's like,
Yeah.
what? Huh? Okay,
It's a
Yeah.
choice, like you
it's a
said. It's a
choice.
choice.
Yeah, so that's basically building up on the fact that Net James fans were already getting very irritated with the way that I guess Net James were being, a lot of people would say, mismanaged, and how
Mm.
they were kind of being maybe disrespected or not given the like time and promotion that they needed, whatever. And then Domundi Land in Japan happened. And it had the same set list as the one in Thailand, except the Net and James stage was completely cut from the show.
Oh, I did not know any of this
So,
Okay.
happened. Oh my god.
I didn't know it was
so I'm
completely
deep in the
cut.
weeds. Listen.
Yeah.
So this happened, and everyone was like, why? Why was their couple stage the only one that was cut from the show? A lot of people again thought that it was like some mismanagement thing, but I'm kind of inclined to believe that they already knew they were gonna split up, and they were
Mm-hmm.
like kind of preemptively or like trying to prepare people for it,
Mm.
kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's all speculation, and no one really knows why the pairing ended up separating, but I personally, just me, I think that James got really, really tired of putting his career and his life on hold, waiting for this delayed show that they
That's
kept
fair.
saying was
Yeah.
going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then it doesn't end up happening. And so at some point, it's like, well, I need to go on with my life. I need to
Mm-hmm.
continue making money. Um,
Yeah.
and I personally feel like he was probably restricted a little,
Mm-hmm.
in doing what he wanted to do. So that kind of prompted all of this. And of course, now he's been promoting his clothing line, Black Daisy. I think they literally just had a drop or like a new item or something. And Net is starting to kind of tease his couple with JJ.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where, like, they're obviously still friends. I don't think they had any type of falling out, but I
Mm.
feel like there's a mutual agreement there where they were just like, okay, maybe it's time for us to go separate ways in terms of being a BL pairing. They're still in the same company, all that stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. Were they mismanaged? Who really knows?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I'm open to embracing the Net JJ couple, and I'm still gonna watch the show if it ever happens.
If it ever
Um,
happens.
but for me, it's like Ned James is simply unmatched, and I will forever hold them dear in my sad little heart. And I just love them so much. Like, truly, for a moment there, they were up there with Z and Nanu for me. And I was
Yeah.
so excited. I was
Mm.
just so excited for this show to come out and to see them in like this historical type of BL, and then see what they could go on to
Yes.
do, see if they could get any overseas promotion, because I would have jumped on any of that. And they were on track to it. Like,
Yeah.
they were becoming really, really popular. And then it's just like, I think behind the scenes, there was just a lot of, I guess, things that didn't work out for them timing
Mm-hmm.
wise. And they just got to a point where they were like, or at least James was like, I'm going to prioritize myself. And I also really wish that people would stop hating on him for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still
So
see a lot
many
of that.
people hate on him for like breaking up the couple. And it's like, be so for real. Be so for real. I don't know. I'm happy for him still. And I'm happy for Net. And I hope that whatever Net does with the Net JJ couple does well. But I still miss. I still
Yeah.
miss.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Yeah, it really does suck when you can kind of see like when you can kind of see more like the things that could have contributed to it. And I think it's really hard when it comes to like production delays and things like that because yes, this is a livelihood and it's hard for people to just wait indefinitely to see like okay, is this thing actually going to happen, especially because we have seen productions kind of just get canceled out of nowhere. So I think like for them it could have come to a point where they really had to sit down and have a conversation about it. And I also think that like people forget that a lot of the times these actors who are acting in BLs have aspirations outside of BL. I mean, so many of these
Yeah.
people are going to school for things like engineering, things that are completely
Mm.
outside of the acting realm. With James, like he still wants to be in art, just like doing something different in art. But, you know, for him, it could have been an opportunity to be like, okay, well, we don't know when this is happening. I have other things I want to do. Maybe this is the time to start looking into doing those. So yeah, it's hard because you love someone together with someone else so much, but you also like want them to do what's best for them. So it's
Yeah. I
tough.
think the part that disappoints me the most about it, or that makes me the most upset, is that this was all so preventable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think them splitting up as a BL pairing was in the plan at all,
Mm-hmm.
but it
Mm-hmm.
just ended up happening. So that makes it
Yeah.
extra sad, but I'll move on
Sad.
eventually. Maybe.
You're in your grieving period right
I
now.
have never
I
moved on from Perth Saint. You'll never move on from that, James.
am.
uh,
We'll never love
oh.
again, Kayla. We'll never love again.
At least not in that way.
Hmm.
No.
Oh man. I thought of someone, a pairing that I feel like would have been on all of our radars. And I feel like we've kind of had this happen with them before that it just kind of flies over our head because we don't view them that way. But Perth and Tele. technically
Oh yeah.
Dude.
only sailed for
Yeah.
literally my
Keep
engineer.
forgetting about them.
Because like the thing is like they still are such good friends. So like
Yeah.
I feel like in a way like the ship still kind of exists, but
Yeah.
also
They
like
can't, they
they
did by
tech
destiny. It kind of
yeah, technically Perth was a ghost and Talei's
yes.
character like had
It was
another boyfriend.
yeah.
They did
It
do
was a
like
Yoon
that
Talay, not a
little
Perth Talay.
like Japanese short project.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like technically speaking, they fall into this category, and I feel like we just view them as like Perth and Talay. So like when things like
Yeah.
this come up, like we never really think about them. But yeah, I mean, they're still really good friends, and like they are together when they can be. Obviously, Perth lives in Japan now and is pursuing work in Japan, and like that's his thing that he's
It's doing really
doing.
well.
Yeah, he's in a play right now. He's getting a lot
Mm.
of good work there, I think. So, but like, I mean, they film stuff like when Talay was in Japan, they hang out all the time. So, yeah, I just feel like we don't like Perth and Talay is just Perth and Talay. And so, like, I feel like when I think about, and maybe it's because like their ship dynamic was never super like shippy. Like they did ship work, but not really, if that makes sense. I feel like that's also kind of how Perth has described it in his videos. Like, we did some ship work, but also like not in the way that I guess people think of ship work, maybe. Um,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, but I was just kind of thinking like when you guys were talking about Perth, I was like, oh, there's another Perth that was also technically like in a ship that really did only sail for like that one short My Engineer season. But yeah, I just wanted to throw them out there because I thought of them while everyone was chatting about their most painful ship breakups. I was like, oh yeah, what about Perth and Delay? Like,
That was also painful.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is
Ram
like
King was painful because they
Yeah.
deserved better,
yeah.
That's what it was. Ram King was a painful.
but
Mm-mm.
yeah,
This is a trauma dump episode, I fear.
Right.
literally.
One of many.
Warning before you go into this episode, we're trauma dumping the ships that sunk. I feel like that's a sad place to end it. I'm trying to think of like any
How
other like
about we
ships.
we talked about ships that have ended their time. Are there any, let's do we all have a ship that we're excited to see set sail maybe to kind of end it on a
Hmm.
positive note? I don't know
Joss
if anyone.
Gawin.
Josh Gawin.
I'm actually
Aw.
kind of keen to see what that looks like
I feel
because
like Gawin is
Joss and
so
Tay.
good with everyone.
So in
Joss
Three
and
Will Be
Tay.
Free.
I almost
Joss
thought
and
about putting the
Tay.
three will be free triangle
Yeah.
on my list, and I was like, does that really
Yeah.
count?
Because yeah, so that I was also like, I don't think that really counts. But Joss and Tay, I loved their dynamic. I loved the like Joss in Three Will Be Free. I love Gawin in like pretty much everything he does. And then like Joss and Gawin together is giving me a little bit of like the Pod Gawin visuals.
I feel
But
like they have a
like,
very similar energy as well. Like they seem to
yeah.
match
Yeah.
each other's personalities really well
Yeah.
from what I've seen.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited about that. And I'm also just super bloody excited that Chris Singto are back and doing
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder what they'll do next.
Just
After
going?
Oh no, Kristen Singto.
after
Yeah.
I'm
what is it
wondering.
called? My ex
My
something.
X Morning?
Thank you. I can't remember show titles for my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was.
I'm keen for that.
I think that one's still probably a little whiles away. It doesn't really seem
Yeah,
like it's in
probably.
production yet, but
But yeah,
yeah.
Just going. That's a
Just
ship that
Going.
I'm actually quite excited to see set sail.
It's a good one. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I said this and now I need to think about it for a second. I would say, okay, this is me cheating because technically they already exist as a ship, but I'm really excited for Awe and Boom because I feel
Yeah.
like they're really coming into their prime as a ship. And I have said this for like 2 years now, but I feel like we're really at the point where like they could actually become like an official ship. I think they're official at this point, but like GMMTV official, I think is like a different thing. And I just feel excited for them lately because has gotten a lot of excitement around them, and a lot of people are campaigning for GMMTV to start utilizing them more. So I
Yeah.
think we're at a point where they could really actually like set sail in their own right, as opposed to just kind of being like the forever support couple, which is what they have been since vice versa across like 5 series at this point. So yeah.
Mm.
In terms of like a new ship, I'm kind of excited for Ohm and Lang. Like, and I was saying this in the Discord, I want Kidnap to be successful just despite all the weirdos that have been harassing all of these
Yeah.
actors.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I am excited to see. I really enjoy Ohm as an actor, so I haven't actually watched the trailer yet because we're going to record a reaction to it probably. Um, but I'm excited to see him doing something new and like being back in the BL sphere again. So yeah.
Yeah. I had to think about this for a second, but I think I'm really excited to see Kang and Namping work together. Like, I'm
Mm.
so excited for their show, the Kemjira. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
The trailer looked so creepy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a horror show, so
Right
of
up your
course, but
alley.
it looked so creepy. It looked like exactly something I would love. And like I said before, I was already a fan of Namping, kind of. And then, like, after I saw them in person, I was like, wow, I like how they look together. I like how they look together aesthetically. I like how
Yeah.
they interact with each other. So getting to see them act together is going to be fun. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well,
That's a much
ending
more
it
positive note.
ending it on much more of a positive
Yes.
note. Yeah. Not in the trauma section of the episode. But yeah, I guess to bring it back, that's gonna be all from us today. So make sure to head to the comments and share your ships that you were hoping to see more from. And you can also share your ships that you're excited to see set sail in the coming months or coming year of BL, because there is a lot coming out, and I think a lot of new pairings to look forward to. But yeah, be sure to chat with us in the comments over on our socials. You can find all of our socials in the description. And you can also come chat with us in our Discord server, which is linked down below. We have a Patreon as well where we do early access to episodes and show reviews, as well as like exclusive content that we're putting over there. So you can find all of that stuff in the description, and it's all different ways you can help support the show. But yeah, that's going to be all from us this week. So we will see you guys in another episode soon. Bye bye.